He's back.
Rex Heurmann. I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter.
I'm a serial killer? What's up, guys? True Crime King! Back. Or, as some of you like to call me, the young Godfather. Capiche? First of all, I want to say hello to all of my fake followers, right? How you doing, guys? Wow. It feels like it's been like a year, to be honest with you. I didn't know how much I really liked doing this until I couldn't do it anymore for 2 freaking weeks, right? And then next, the second thing I want to, people that I want to say hi to are my haters, right? Because every time it seems I climb a rung, I get more haters, right? But they're so stupid, right? I'm not going to name any names, but people that think they're making my life worse or making it better, you know? It's just, keep doing it. You know what I mean? But anyway, we're going to be taking a look at this Rex Heurmann, the New England serial killer. All right? Because I think that's the next biggest thing right now, right? I mean, Kohberger's pretty much played out at this point, right? I mean, I don't know. I haven't been watching much YouTube since I couldn't been on it myself. So anyway, glad to be back. And, you know, leave a comment so my fake followers can see, okay? Here we go.
Born and raised on Long Island. Okay. Been working in Manhattan since 1987.
After more than a decade, police have finally arrested the man they believe is the Long Island serial killer, also known as the Gilgo Beach Killer.
Look how tall that freaking guy is.
True crime community has been obsessed with this unsolved case, and allegedly so has the guy arrested for the killings, Rex Heurmann. Police uncovered hundreds of searches on his computer about this case.
What the defendant was searching. In a 14-month period, he had over 200 searches pertaining to the Gilgo investigation.
Well, you know what he was doing there, right? He just wants to see, you know, he's just basically seeing where the police are at. He thinks he's smarter than everybody, right? He didn't think he was gonna get caught, right? And he's probably sitting at home laughing. Well, hey Rex, you ain't laughing now, right?
He was searching.
And that's what karma always comes back around, right? It just does.
Compulsively searching pictures of the victims, but not only pictures of the victims, pictures of their relatives. And he was trying to locate those individuals. In addition to that, there was a lot of torture, porn, and what you would consider depictions of women being abused, being raped, and being killed.
The 59...
Yeah. He's a piece of crap.
9-year-old architect was taken into custody on July 13th at his Midtown Manhattan office and has been charged with the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello.
Let's have a moment of silence for these 3 lovely ladies. Melissa, Megan, and Amber. I mean, they would have no chance against that freaking big ass. He's probably, what, 6'5", and he's got a gut, you know? And Just like the Koberger thing. I mean, Koberger was a man, and he had a knife, right? Is there still people that think Koberger's innocent? I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore.
The bodies of the 3 victims, along with one other, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, were found over the course of
4.
2 days in 2010, within a quarter mile of each other along a stretch of highway in Long Island. They would become known as the Gilgo Beach 4. Heurmann has been indicted for the murders of 3 of the victims and is the prime suspect in the 4th. These cases have gone cold for years, but
well, think about it, right? If he's connected to 3 of them, right? Definitely, 100%. And there's another dead body right next to him. And it's a pretty good chance he did that wrong too, right? But I know there's going to be people that don't think he did that, right? There's always people that, are going to disagree. That's a good thing.
In 2022, a new task force was formed with the express purpose of finding the Long Island serial killer. And at a press conference, police did not mince words when it came to describing the man they arrested.
Oh, real quick, by the way, I'm going to be on Rumble as well, because over there I can say a lot more things that I can't say on YouTube. So you might want to follow me on Rumble too. Might be a little more interesting content.
Rex Heurmann is a demon that walks among us. A predator that ruined families.
So how did this, quote, predator live and function for all these years without raising suspicion? Well, pretty successfully. Heurmann's arrest came as a huge shock to a lot of people who know him.
Yeah, I mean, look at him right there, right? Looks like a dork, right? With his glasses on, his big gut, his suit that doesn't really fit him. I mean, nobody would think he's a serial killer, right? But those are the people that are serial killers, right? It's not like you can't just go and pick out serial killers, right? I mean, people are so biased. Like never mind. You know what? Let's keep it moving.
Long Island native is an imposing man. He's somewhere between 6'4" and 6'6", weighs more than 250 pounds. But he's been described by several people as being affable. Coworkers even nicknamed him Peter Griffin after the Family Guy character. And
that's a good comparison.
A colleague described him to Fox News Digital as patient and goofy, meticulous with his work. Heurmann was the president of his own architecture firm in New York City, so pretty successful, and his 26-year-old daughter Victoria worked for him. At least.
Imagine, what this does to his daughter now, right? She thought she had a normal weird dad, right? Who knows? He might have been a good dad, right? And now she finds out he's a freaking serial killer and has been killing people, right? I mean, I can't imagine what she would be going through right now, right?
Outwardly, Heurmann appeared to be a family man. He's married, and along with Victoria, he and his wife, Asa, have a special needs son. Now, not a lot is known about Asa. She's kept a pretty low profile so far. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows describing this guy. Trust me. A colleague who wished to remain anonymous told the New York Post that the murder suspect once spoke about the Gilgo Beach killings and allegedly questioned why the murderer would use a burlap net to dispose of the bodies. And a neighbor also told Fox that he was a bit of an oddball. But if you...
Well, is that really that weird though, right? I mean, people at work, they obviously work near where these killings are happening, right? I'm sure millions of people in that area were talking about this case, right? I mean, is that really that weird? to be, talking about how these girls are being murdered near where you work. I mean, I guess looking back at it now, knowing he's the killer, you could say it's, but everybody does it, right? That's into true crime.
You ask law enforcement, Heurmann is as depraved as it comes. I mean, you heard them earlier. They believe he's a predator. And in court documents, they presented evidence that they hope will prove it in a court of law. Here is some of the most disturbing information that investigators discovered while they were digging into Rex Heurmann. A grand jury was convened, and through that grand jury, the LISC task force was able to obtain hundreds of subpoenas. Many of them were to search Heurmann's digital footprint, which police say he tried to hide through fake burner phones and emails. Law enforcement says Heurmann frequently communicated with and hired sex workers, even up until recently. He also had a Tinder profile connected to a burner email where he used a fake name, but seemed to use his real photos. But it was this online...
Yeah, so this guy's got a Tinder, right? I can tell you that the girls, they aren't going on dates with him for his looks, right? They're going money, gold diggers, right? Gotta be careful these days, guys.
Searches that are the most disturbing. Cops say the suspect conducted
and girls
thousands of searches for sex workers, sadistic, torture-related pornography, and child pornography. His search terms are enough to make anybody cringe. Some of them are truly repugnant, and just a warning, if you look them up, the content of these searches are very dark. But some of the more mild ones included mature escorts, Manhattan. But the majority of them involved sexual violence, particularly against young girls. And he also seemed to be obsessed with the Long Island serial killer case. His alleged searches included podcasts and documentaries about LISC, updates on the case, and why it hadn't been solved. Let me read a few to you. 1. Why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? 2. Why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught? And the last one. In Long Island serial killer investigation, new phone technology may be key to break-in case.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, usually, at least when I type in Google, I'm not typing freaking 2 sentences, and you know what I'm saying? You don't need to, right? You just type in the keywords, a couple words, and it'll come up, right? You don't need to type in these whole sentences, but I don't know. I mean, let me know in the comments if you guys type whole sentences like this, like 2 or 3 sentences when you're typing something in Google.
Now, he also searched the names of the victims and their close relatives and viewed hundreds of photos of those victims, the Gilgo Beach 4. Police said he looked at the images compulsively. One of his other alleged searches was for John Bittroff. That's a convicted killer who was once suspected of actually being Liz. Now, the searches were all done in connection with a burner email account, and police say that at the time of his arrest, he had a burner phone on him that was connected to one of those emails. I mentioned earlier that this case had been cold for about a decade and only heated up once that task force was created.
You see, you can't really miss that guy. He's so much bigger than most people, right?
In 2022, and the Gilgo murders became a priority. Prior to that, there had been widespread criticism of law enforcement and their handling of the case. Now, these victims had all been first reported missing, and investigators are accused of basically putting the cases on the back burner because they were sex workers. A local reporter for the Long Island Press penned this scathing headline a few weeks before the bodies of those missing women would be found dead. Lost girls. When women go missing on Long Island, some matter, prostitutes don't. But once the task force was formed...
That's not true. I mean, they were looking for these girls just like they would look for any other person, right? I mean, come on. The guy was just, it just took him a while to solve it. That's my opinion. I don't think the police weren't looking for these. I mean, obviously they were looking for the killer, right? They had a whole task force set up. So I disagree there. But I know some of you are going to disagree with me, so let me know in the comments.
Formed last year, it only took 6 weeks for Heurmann's name to come up for the first time. And the task force was pretty intricate. Investigators, lawyers, forensics, the FBI, different police departments, all working together to solve this case. But the key to understanding how the task force honed in on their suspect, we have to look at the crimes themselves. Specifically, how were the victims chosen? How did the killer interact with them? How were they killed and then disposed of? And finally, what did the killer do after? The disappearance of 23-year-old Shannon Gilbert was the catalyst to the whole Long Island serial killer case, despite the fact that she isn't believed to be a LISK victim. Like the other victims, Shannon was a sex worker. In 2010, she traveled from her home in New Jersey with her usual driver, who sort of served as her protection. He brought her to a remote neighborhood in Long Island to meet up with her.
Or her pimp, right? What's the difference? If somebody knows, please let me know.
John. Now, she ends up disappearing under mysterious circumstances. Shannon's case is a complicated one, and diving too deep into it will only serve to really confuse matters, as tragic as it was. She did die, likely that night, but her death has been ruled as accidental. But the reason it is significant to the LISK cases, despite her not being a LISK victim, is because an off-duty detective was searching for her with his police dog, kind of doing a search exercise. His name was Blue, and Blue alerted him to human remains. That is when the first LISK victim was found. Now, when that first set of remains was discovered, cops immediately believed that they had finally located Shannon. Only they hadn't. The body was identified as another missing sex worker, Melissa Bartholomew.
Yeah, so that's definitely this guy's MO, right? He somehow gets in contact with these sex workers, right? He probably goes, does what he does, right? Then he just overpowers them, you know, and buries him on the beach, right? But anyway, this video is getting long. I'll do another part tomorrow. It's late. Just got off work. I wanted to do a video because I'm happy to be back, and I wanted to say hi to all of you guys, all of my supporters, my members. I appreciate you all you fake people. I'm not even mentioning any names, but trust me, I have some. Stay tuned, because I have some good content coming up for you. You're just gonna have to trust me, alright? But I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, True Crime King.